Okay, so I'm back. Still haven't done my hair, period. um, People are looking at me so crazy, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care. I don't care. Anyways, today we are here to talk about the Idaho murders. Um, Unfortunate. We're just gonna get straight into it. The very first thing I feel is I wonder, like I saw some photos of them, but I wonder how close, how good of friends that they were. I wonder if all of them were really into partying or if they spent a lot of time together in intimate experiences like that. But yeah. Okay. So if you were to ask me what that man's motivation was in harming these girls, I think that this was ritualistic. There's a part of me that feels like he did this absolutely for a purpose. I don't care if this man was like schizophrenic and he, the voices were telling him to get these girls. Um, but there's a part of me that does feel like this was quite ritualistic. Like, not even to be like woo woo about the whole thing. I really do feel like there was a point in doing this. It was an offering to somebody or something. Like I said, this could very well have been like like it's somebody or something that wasn't really there. Like I said, very much a schizophrenic outbreak. Like, of course, the man was mentally deranged. I just wonder, did they do like a full like psych evaluation on him? Was he? I think he's already in jail. Like, I wonder if this is the kind of person where is he? I wonder if he's like a psychopath, or he's the kind of person where if you had a conversation with him, he would either throw you all the way left, or he would pull you in so much that you could tell that he had something wrong with him. Because like they'll say like, I think it's like psychopaths who have a tendency to be like super like charming and things like that, versus like schizophrenic, versus like schizophrenic, versus like schizophrenic people who like you can tell something is very very off with them. If you had to ask me, I would probably guess that he's a psychopath rather than maybe even schizophrenic. Like, he might hallucinate or he might be convinced of certain things. This kind of reminds me of, I believe it's the show, like, I want to say Dexter. I've never watched the show personally, but this definitely seems like somebody who maybe has had fantasies. Didn't they? I haven't looked into this case at all, but I feel like this is the kind of person who might have had extended fantasies about killing people. I'm pretty sure I talked to my coworker about it because she had told me, and they had said something about like him going online and like doing research on it, right? Like, this is kind of, he reminds me of David a little bit, where like he killed them because he likes to kill people. I just do feel like there was some sort of dark magic or some dark art here. There's a part of me that even wonders, like, maybe he was a hitman for hire, or he kind of fantasized about being a hitman for hire. There was absolutely a purpose in this, in satisfying somebody else. Like, it's like if they needed, their blood to, I don't know, like, on some vampire shit. I need the blood of four young girls to be able to manifest this, or I want you to get these women gone. Um, there's a part of me that feels like this was a little bit, there's a part of me that feels like maybe he knew them, but the decision to kill them came from a random place or a random experience. Like, for example, let's say he was looking at some of these girls for like 4 or 5 years, and then he decided, within a month or two of killing them, that he was going to do that. I do feel like this was also for personal gain. When I say this is like ritualistic, this might have been something that he was trying to manifest, or he was trying to subside within himself. I also want to say that he might have a lot of regret over this, even if he doesn't necessarily display this. I feel like he might feel like, I listen to the voices. I'm trying to think of like a piece of media, but this kind of feels like listening to the voices and then you realize what it's like. It's almost like Jekyll and Hyde, where it's like you go with the evil voice and then you look at it. This reminds me of She's Gone by G Dragon. That's so that's so specific. That's so niche. But like at the end, like basically the music video is about a guy who his girlfriend breaks up with him and he's stalking her and he ends up killing her, right? Which is, it's super disturbing, but it's a song that I loved when I was a child for some reason. I don't know. It wasn't really the video for me, but it was a song. But yeah, basically, if you look it up on YouTube, you'll be able to find it. Um, and so after he's finally caught her and he's finally killed her, he's tore up about it. Like, I feel like he was kind of snapped out of whatever trance that he was in as soon as he did what he did. He might have been really, this is the kind of man who will like beat a woman to death, but like will be terrified of other men. So I do feel like this person was afraid once he realized that when I go to jail, I'm going to be around people who are worse than me, or men who are willing to fight me in a way that I've only reserved for women. But yeah, I'm gonna stand on the fact, I do think that it was quite ritualistic why he did those things to them. Like I said, it could have been some sort of psychotic break, some sort of neurological issue. I just feel like once he killed them, he understood the gravity of what he did, and he immediately wanted to distance himself. It might even be like a dissociative kind of thing. But yeah, he feels emboldened to do it. I also feel like he's a little bit like he has to scratch an itch once he gets the urge to hurt somebody. I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't the first person that he's hurt. I don't care if this is someone who like choked his dogs when he was little. I don't think this is the first time that he's harmed somebody. And he immediately thought about he immediately thought about afterwards, what am I gonna lose? Like, if I have a job, if I have a house, like, especially, did he have pets or something like that? I feel like there are certain people or certain energies that relied on him that he immediately thought, damn, I'm not gonna show up to work. I'm not gonna be there to feed my cat. It's very strange. This one might be someone who developed a mood disorder or something to that extent based on lack of love in childhood. I also wonder if he's been prompted to go to therapy. This kind of seems like, to me, he had some options to get help, and he didn't think that he needed help until it was already too late, right? I even wonder if this might be someone who had superiors at work who were like, watch him. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, there's something about this person where I don't feel like when he did this, like, I'll be honest, I feel like maybe at least a year, like 6 months to at least a year before he did what he did, people were looking at him like, you probably need to get some help. You need to talk to somebody. You're not all the way coherent. You're not all the way there. I also wonder if some of this was spite, or he did what he did to, I know that he wanted to harm these girls. I just wonder if he was trying to prove somebody else wrong. Like, let's say hypothetically, he had a mother who was like, I don't think you're well. You need to go see somebody. And he's like, I'm perfectly fine. There's a part of me that feels like he did this to prove this to somebody else, that he didn't necessarily need help, or he was going to be able to kind of do what he wanted in the world before anybody could stop him. There's also a part of me that feels like he thought that these girls were like chasing him. That's why I'm like, there's some sort of weird psychological disconnect there, where it's like, I feel like he was having hallucinations or believed that he was he was in danger, or he tried to kind of rationalize it with, they were coming at me first. Like, there are a lot of people who are really weird like that, where they, because they want to harm somebody, they try to spin it as if someone did something crazy to them. This is like women who, I know they just had that guy in the government who beat his wife, and then he was like, oh, if I, did I beat her if she, what did he say, that she made me dinner a couple of weeks later? It's like, you make dinner for your husband so he doesn't beat the fuck out of you. Like something very minimal happened to him between him and this girls, and it caused him to spiral out of control. It might have even been somebody else suggesting, oh, you might need some help, or you might need to talk to somebody, and he's like, fuck you, bitch, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do. But yeah, to some extent, I do feel like he thought he was serving somebody, or he was serving something. Like, I really get a spiritual insight to do this. Like, oh, I'm talking to the devil, or I'm talking to this person, and they're telling me to do this, and if I do this, then I'm gonna be free, and I don't know these girls. I didn't look too much at them or what they had going on, so I'm just going to list them off in age order. I'm just going to say girl 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I don't know their ages. This is just respective to however old they will be or they were at the time. I don't care if they're all born in the same year. If one is born in January, then one is born in March, August, whatever. Okay. I feel like maybe girl 1 might have had a super significant experience with him. Or if she wasn't the one who maybe had the first-hand experience with him, she may have heard about it, and she didn't think this was real until it became real. I feel like she passed out of her body so quick. I don't know if she was the first one to go. When I say this, I don't know if she's the first one to get stabbed, or she was just literally physically the first one to pass away. But she did not expect this. She did not think this man was capable of this. She was in utter shock. I think that this is utter shock. I think this is someone who is very happy with the outcome, especially in the court of law. I just feel like she feels like her life was a waste. Like, she didn't finish college. She was in the middle of college. She was like, the oldest one of them was 21. So young to be dying. She feels like it was just kind of a waste of a life. This might be someone who kind of clings to earth. Like, I feel like she's happy with the outcome, but I do feel like this is someone who might, quote unquote, haunt places or haunt him. Like, if he's having a lot of dreams, if he's having a lot of issues in some of his legal proceedings, or just like, I mean, I'm sure people don't treat him super nice, right? But I just feel like if he has a lot of issues, I think that she could definitely be the main one. Like, she doesn't want him to feel like he can go anywhere. She could want him to kind of feel kind of stagnant or lonely or stuck, especially because she wasn't able to move on with her life. So why should you be able to move on emotionally? The thing is, I just feel like she could, I don't know why I want to say this. I think that she has to move on, because there's a part of me that feels like she could definitely haunt him or bother him for a long while, like past the point of getting justice. Like, at this point, I feel like you can't tell somebody when to move on from their life, right? Because it's their life. But I just feel like at this point, like, as much like she's gotten her restitution in some way, I feel like her work is done here. But I do like, everything about it happened so quickly to her. It's almost like she didn't process that she was dead until she was out, or she had been stabbed until she was like fully out of her body. She was not expecting that at all. I also wonder if and when he came at her, he had said something that would tie to some of the spiritual stuff. I do feel like she might have felt it was kind of ritualistic, or he had been kind of possessed by somebody. There's definitely something that he said, or like how he looked, or something that he did that let her know, like, you're doing this because you're convinced of something within your brain that this is going to gain you something, or you are working for somebody. Like, I do feel like she might have felt like he had an entity attachment, or like I said, something working through him, or somebody who he felt like he answered to someone who he was in a relationship with when he made that decision, and it worked, but to what avail? I think the next oldest one, I think, is another girl. I think it's her name is starts with a K. I feel like this one can be very, very distraught. I feel like this is someone who, before she died, like, I think it might have taken her a little bit more time to actually physically pass on. I feel like, I don't know, is this the one that had a boyfriend? There's just a part of me that feels like she might have realized what was going on. I don't know if she heard a lot of other sounds in the house. I feel like it took her a little bit of time to die, so she had a little bit of time to kind of feel the fear of what was going on and feel traumatized by it before she left out of her body. And I think that it's almost like she's like regressed to a child. Like, this is the kind of person, if you saw her as like quote unquote a specter, she'd probably appear as like literally a kid or a lot younger than she physically was. I don't think that what's funny? I don't think she saw it coming, but not because she couldn't see this person doing that. I just thought that she thought that she might be able to outsmart him, or he would never actually like find us. I think that she thought that she could kind of outsmart him. So her surprise is not necessarily that he had the intention to do it. It's the idea that he wasn't going to catch me. Yeah, like, this is someone who I feel like it's very hard for her to get over. Like, if I don't know, I think they said they were in an Airbnb or a rental. Like, if there are ever like paranormal things that go on at that place, I guarantee you it's definitely the second girl. Like, she was very upset. She definitely noted that other people were dying or were harmed in that. I just wonder if it was quite a loud, like, it was a lot of noise going on, whether this is people like screaming at whatever that he's doing, or like literally the sound of him shuffling around, or like literally the sound of like themselves being harmed, right? She cannot forget, she cannot get over the gruesome way that she had passed out of her body. Like I said, the first girl was low-key lucky to kind of have immediately gone. She really felt the brunt of it. Like, this is someone who was definitely conscious while a lot of things were going on. She might, like I said, she might have seen or heard things that are very, very traumatizing, especially to know that at the end of that you ended up dying. She definitely was aware as she was going out of her body. I wonder if this girl was particularly popular or particularly pretty. Like, she just kind of feels like, this kind of reminds me of Carrie. I know Carrie was like really bullied by other people, but she just really feels like there's so much that I was going for that I never got to do. She really regrets who she was not be able to become, especially because she felt like her life had her on a track where she was going to be very successful, very well known. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she was like a fire sign or a Leo placement. I did just look it up. I actually think this person might have been a Cancer, but it's still not impossible to have a Leo placement at that point, but whatever. There's a part of me that also wonders, was she one of the ones where he like did he get rejected by any of them? There's a part of me that feels like she might have had an actual conversation with him where she told him no, and she didn't think, like I said, if she thought that he had a vendetta against her, she did not think it was going to manifest like this. She did not see herself dying from this. Like, who thinks that a man rejecting them is going to harm them? It's possible, but no one actually thinks it's going to be them, and he made true on that promise. I also want to say that she might even feel like some of the things that she did allowed him to find them, to locate them. I think that she understands it's not her fault, but she could definitely blame herself for the way that things might have gone down. Like, I don't know, she like mocked him. Like, there's a part of me that really feels like she was a little bit arrogant with him, or she was just that she had a more subdued response, so he wouldn't have done this as well. Because I do feel like there was a pride in telling him no, even if it was just a quick no. It was a very confident, out my face. Like, I think he was very obviously a weirdo. I think that she could definitely. I think if anybody she had the best discernment. Like, she could tell that he was strange and he had a propensity to do something fucked up. Especially, I don't know if her boyfriend. She was the one who had the boyfriend with her. Or she just had a boyfriend. I also think that she was very happy with who she had. She thought that, if anything happens, I can rely on this person as a protector. Like, I'm gonna be okay. She kind of seems like the kind of person to me to know somebody who has like a gun. Like, I know they're from Idaho. I know how the South gets down. I don't know about the Midwest, but she might be someone who's like, I know someone who has protection in case I need it. Like, she really, out of everybody, was like, I'm going to be okay. She could also assume that she was going to get married soon. Like, that might even be what it was. Like, I'm going to graduate from college, I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to get married, and I'm going to do all this, and I'm going to do all that. She feels like all the work was for nothing, especially if she was a very, like, above average student, or she just was involved in a lot, and she was successful at a lot, or she saw herself being quite successful in life, and this man was just so jealous. Like I said, I do feel like he might have had the most profound experience with her, and now she regrets it. Especially if people warned her about her attitude, or felt like she was a little bit too confident. I think that she can kind of acknowledge that it's over, but like the circumstances that she lost out on, I think can make her really, really vengeful. I will say that if anybody's going to come back, I do think that she would absolutely come back. This could definitely be someone who comes back as like a female relative. Like, if she has any siblings or anybody who's related to her who might have a girl child, it will probably be her. I don't care if this is like a friend or like a cousin or something, like someone who she isn't very closely related to, but she would have considered family. She would definitely be back, and this might even be a child that's very fixated on being in love, being in in a marriage. This is the kind of girl who aspires to be married and have kids, like a Nara Smith by like 25. I think that she'll be very in love with the idea of family life in this next life. Another thing, okay, so with person 3, I feel like this person feels like they had very little to do with it. I feel like this person feels like they had very little to do with it. Like very, very, very little. Like she feels like she's paying for a wrong place, wrong time situation. Oh my god. It reminds me, this is so random. I had this dream the other day that this old coworker I had, he essentially, to skip all the fluff, he essentially died in my dream. He got stabbed to death. It's actually, it's not funny, but like it's kind of ironic, right? He got stabbed to death in this, and he was bucking up his chest at the person who had the knife to kill him. And obviously the guy kills him, and so I get so scared that I'm like, I don't know if I should run and he's gonna be like a dog and chase me as a result, or but I ended up just freezing and standing there, and the guy kind of left me alone. I feel like she feels like maybe if I, like I said, if I was in a different place, if I had reacted differently, maybe I wouldn't be in this predicament. I think I like I said, I'm not sure, but this might have even been the one who had the boy. I don't know if both, like girl 2 and 3 had boyfriends, but this might have been the one who had the boyfriend with her. I'm not sure who was who, but she might have felt really happy with her person. Like I said, she might have been very visibly with her person. Like if he saw these people out in public, he probably saw this girl with her boyfriend, or she's known for, like her and her boyfriend have quite a known popular relationship. Like there's no way that she would have led this guy on or did anything that would have convinced him that he had a chance with her if he was going to bother everybody. They could have also been talking seriously about getting married as well. Like I feel like she definitely had a concrete plan to do so. I think this could be someone who very much so grieves, especially if this is someone who had big dreams or big aspirations. I don't know if she studied something medical, but this is a person to me, like, I'm not saying that she would have, but she kind of gives the kind of person who, wants to like cure cancer, that kind of thing. So I think a lot of her sadness is tied to literally not just like, not being able to have a relationship, not being able to have children, but like really like my interest, what they would have done for the world. I could also get tech. I don't know. She just in general was in STEM or something, and it's not necessarily in the humanities, but can improve the quality of life for humanity. I also want to say I don't know if she had like an internship, or she definitely had some things going for herself where she was very much so on track. Like for example, you get an internship at a very big company, so you know that when you graduate, you have a job there. She seems like she had a very clear path as to what was going to go on, especially in career. Also, I don't know if she feels like her boyfriend talked her into going here. I don't know if she feels like she always has a tendency to kind of be roped into things by her friends. Like I said, she feels like wrong place, wrong time, but she really did not want to be here, or other people kind of force her to be here, and then she's kind of accosted with this crazy person. So there might even be a little bit of blame or hatred towards whoever brought her here, or if it was multiple people talking her into this, she could definitely feel like these people were the issue, or they derailed me in life. Because of them, I'm not able to pursue these things, or humanity is going to fail or suffer, or just have delayed to certain things that would have been fixed immediately had I still been here. I think that she's very devastated about her death, but to me, this feels like after an initial sadness, I feel like she kind of understands that she has to move on. She's very like dutiful in the mind. I think that she understood at some point, I can't just stay here. Like if I want to, I have to come back again. So she could also manifest as another woman. This could be another prolific woman. I'm thinking about Kristen McCullough, which, if you know that story, is not the best, not the best. If you don't know, long story short, she was a female. I don't know. I don't even know what you would call her. But she worked in space. She basically died on live TV because the rocket blew up. Right. Yeah. But she could have a lot of the same interests. One thing I will say is that even if she lives a short life or a shorter life, the next life period, I don't care if she died at like 50. I do think that she will be able to do certain things in the world. I do think she will have at least some associations with success, especially after like post grad in her career, even if she does succumb to certain things kind of early. I think she loves her person, but I don't think that she thought this was the love of her life, or she would have sacrificed this relationship had she been able to have her life with her still. Yeah, like she liked him. It was not like that. It was not that fucking much. Also, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it, especially if she had wanted to leave this person, or she wasn't, all into the relationship, or she just thought that it might be holding me back. Like if she was just like okay, she was very okay with the idea of not being with him in a way that the girl before probably was very devoted to love. They might have even been going through issues, or maybe they had an argument shortly before this happened. And so it might even, I wonder if she just felt like she had certain signs to leave, or certain urges to leave, and then something bad happens and she wishes that she would have just went. Yeah, like I feel like a lot of her downfall was because of who she was associated with, including her own relationship. Person 4, I think, is the boyfriend, is the one man. I think that he feels away, like I said, because he might have talked somebody into going there or staying there, and they lost everything. I also wonder if he might have been somebody who came from a disprivileged financial background. I think he had multiple siblings. I just wonder if like it was hard for them to get him there, like to school, and it was wasted. There's a part of me that feels like he struggled to even get there, so he shouldn't have been wasting the opportunity in certain ways. Like he felt like he was like fixated on the wrong things, and he paid for that. He just feels like he was very egotistical, and he was about looks. Like he was kind of shallow in why he wanted to be maybe in school at that specific place that they were at, and so he had to pay for it, especially if he kind of had dreams or premonitions. Like he just felt like something was going to be off, or you know, like it was really hard for him to get there. So, you know, like there were signs that this might have gone wrong, even if he didn't predict that this was going to happen. I think he could have only saw this man briefly. I don't think he would have known this man in depth, but they definitely had seen each other before or had been in the same vicinity as each other, and then that it just spiraled. He definitely feels like whoever was warning him or whoever tried to tell him about himself was right. Especially if this was a girlfriend or just another woman in his life, like his mother. Like I said, I think that his ego was just so involved in it. Like, I have to prove myself, and obviously he paid the ultimate cost. Yeah, I feel like I'm not blaming him, but if there's anybody to blame, I think that he definitely would have been one of the more prevalent people, and he feels like I said, I lost, like it was really my fault. He might kind of take the onus of the blame, like it was my fault. I encouraged this. I really wanted this because I wanted to prove something to myself, you know, and I lost everything. This could also be someone who was very excited to have some alone time with the girlfriend. Like, I don't care if it was just to get away so they could have sex, right? Like, he just, like, whatever reason that he decided to go was fugazi as fuck, and so they had to pay for it. I do think that he liked her, but I do think that her needs always came second to his, especially with his ego, right? And so now, like, it's one thing, like, if he just, like, fucked up on his own, but now you fucked up somebody else who had a really good thing going for themselves because you're selfish. The issue in kind of creating a breakthrough in this case, because I think he's been tried, I think they just don't really understand his motive still. Like, because I feel like a lot of people were talking about how they left and they still didn't have certain answers. This man is a liar. He is a liar. He's going to do everything that he can to bury a lead as to why he did it. There's a part of me though that feels like he's a liar and he has a pattern of what he lies about or how he lies, and I think that could say a lot. Like, for example, let's say hypothetically he was into like indecent exposure, and so if he ever got caught before, his, you know, whatever his reasoning behind it was, you know, it was a hot day, I was just changing my clothes really quick, and then all of a sudden something accidentally happened. There is it's something like he's lied about this before, or he's lied in this exact way before, and so it's more so you would have to know him. This might be something where his family or people who would know him more intimately could speak to, but he has a pattern of doing things and how he does things that I feel like says that reveals everything. This could be some reverse psychology shit. You ever heard of somebody? I remember, fuck, I'll try to clip the video if I can find it. But basically, I remember seeing this video a couple like months ago where this girl called her boyfriend, and she was like, "I know you in the car with bitches." And mind you, the person who's recording this video is the bitch in question, right? And so the girlfriend calls her boyfriend because her intuition is going off, and she's like, "I know you hanging out with bitches." And he's like, "Bro, do you want me to FaceTime you on some reverse psychology, like?" And she's like, "No, I don't want you to." Meanwhile, the bitch is in the back of the car recording this girl losing her mind because she can just tell what this man is out there doing. That's what I mean by he has a pattern, and he's trying to use certain things to throw people completely off of the scent when that's exactly where you should look. Like I said, it's likely not his first time hurting somebody or planning to hurt somebody. That's why I'm like, there are ways to string this together, but it kind of feels like you might have to think about this process a little bit backwards. Yeah, I also feel like this might be someone who adds new lies in to kind of throw off the scent as well. He lies. He chronically lies. The thing is, there's a part of me that feels like he might have a manifesto or something written somewhere where he kind of has, I don't care if he's, you know, carved this into the wall under his bed. There's definitely somewhere or something that has the entirety of the information of why he does this, why he's done this before, what he gets from it. And he could definitely be very, very upset or afraid of this coming out or this being revealed to the public, especially because he might feel like he hid it so well, or he is kind of distracted so much. He created so much chaos and narrative that these people would not think to look here or do this thing. Like, for some reason, I'm looking at my wanted shirt, which is very ironic. Very ironic that I'm watching this today. But you know, for example, like, I'm about to get real nerdy with it. With One Piece, basically, Luffy, like in this shirt, this is so corny. Essentially, Luffy, okay, so speaking of lies, basically the world government, this is so corny. I don't, basically in One Piece universe, right? The government, okay, so Luffy, well, first of all, if you want to watch One Piece and you don't want no spoilers, get the fuck out the video now, because this is literally like, this is like 1,200 episodes of lore that I'm about to spoil right now. But yeah, anyways, the government lies about the true nature of Luffy's devil fruit. And so in the beginning of One Piece, everyone knows him as a rubber man, and you know, he has all this gum, because it's whatever, like, you know, come to find out that it's not gum or it's not rubber at all. It's a archetype, like a logia, I think, type of devil fruit that takes the form of this ancient god called Nika. And so Luffy's on the brink of death, and he accidentally opens up or activates his devil fruit on the brink of death as he's in a fight with Kaido, who also says things like, you know, if anybody's going to kill me, it's going to be Joy Boy, which is actually another name for Nika. Luffy appears as this, and then he defeats Kaido, and da-da-da-da-da. That's what I mean when I say I feel like there will be a discovery in intention and an uncovering of a lie, specifically hidden information that is hidden purposefully. I don't care if this is something that's in him or on him. This might even be something that he carries with him, or like a deepest thought that he's divulged somewhere. Yeah, I do think that he will definitely have some damning evidence coming out. Toxic workplaces coming through. So I don't know if this is, because I've mentioned work as well. So I wonder if this is even in a place where you might not necessarily think to look. Like I'm sure, like when they subpoena things, they might go through all your stuff. Obviously, I don't know anything about legal proceedings, but I would not be surprised if this was even at work. If you work from home, it might be on the work laptop. It's definitely in a place that you would not think, and it's definitely being hidden so well based on the narrative that's been built around him. For some reason, his penis is coming through. So like I was talking about indecent exposure. I don't know if this has to do with like his sexual organs. I don't know if there's something about his sexuality. I don't care if this is like a random partner that he had that could tell you a lot about what he's been doing or what he's been saying. Maybe a work colleague that he had a certain pact with. I don't know. I don't necessarily feel like he will volunteer information, but they might find it. It just kind of feels like, you look on the under, like in school, you look on the underside of a desk and you might find like gum. It kind of feels like they just look in a random place that you wouldn't think, and you uncover everything. Yeah, there's a part of me that feels like this might invoke some dark spirituality, or like I said, it could have been spiritual in nature, even if it was like like an order, quote unquote, an ordered hit or something like that. I think it may make people look at the occult a little bit differently. I even wonder. I'm not gonna. This is gonna sound wacky. Like I said, this definitely seems like a cult. I talked about vampires. I don't think some supernatural shit is gonna come up, but like maybe like it definitely seems like this is something that people try to tell themselves is not real, or things are not that serious, and until they are. Like he's definitely a portal or an opening to like I'm gonna say how the other side of the world lives. Okay, but I'm gonna leave this there. I haven't watched a documentary, so like I promise you, I do not know in depth anybody or anything I'm really referencing. So if I'm incorrect about something, please feel free to correct me. But yeah, I'm gonna leave this here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.